Hello, and welcome to English Without Limit, the podcast that helps you speak English with confidence and ease. I'm Julia, your host, and today we're going to talk about something many English learners struggle with: how to stop overthinking and start speaking more naturally. If you've ever found yourself hesitating, pausing, or second-guessing everything you say, you're definitely not alone. Overthinking is one of the biggest obstacles to fluency. But the good news is, you can overcome it, and today, I'll walk you through how. We've all felt that pressure. The pressure to speak perfectly, to use the right grammar, to say exactly the right word. But the more we try to control every word, the harder it becomes to just speak. It's like putting your brain in a cage. And today, we're opening the door. I'll be sharing some simple strategies and practical ideas to help you stop thinking so much and start speaking with more flow and confidence. Whether you're just starting out or you've been learning for years, this episode will help you take a big step towards speaking English like it's second nature. Let's start by looking at what overthinking actually looks like. It's that moment. Right before you speak, your mind suddenly fills with questions. Is this grammar right? Am I pronouncing this okay? Is that the correct word? And before you know it, what should have been a simple sentence becomes a big mental struggle. That hesitation, it's something almost every learner goes through, and it's totally normal. You're trying to do your best. But when you overthink, you slow yourself down, you lose confidence, and suddenly speaking English feels hard. One of the biggest reasons we overthink is fear. The fear of making mistakes, the fear of being judged, the fear of not being understood. So, we try to be perfect. We double-check every word in our head before we even open our mouths. But by the time we're ready to speak, the moment has already passed. Here's something important to remember. Fluency doesn't mean speaking perfectly. It means speaking comfortably. Even native English speakers make mistakes. They forget words. They use the wrong tense. They say and you know. And they just keep going. That's what real fluency looks like. Let me give you a quick example. Imagine someone wants to say, the weather is nice today, but they're overthinking. So it comes out like, I want to say that, I think the weather is very nice today, right? The grammar isn't wrong, but the sentence feels unsure and uncomfortable. Now compare that with, the weather's really nice today. Same message, but this time it's smooth, confident, and natural. That's the power of speaking without overthinking. Speaking naturally helps you have real conversations. When you're constantly pausing to find the right word, it breaks the flow. But when you relax and just speak, the conversation feels easier, more enjoyable, and more real. You'll also notice something else. When you stop overthinking, you become a better listener. You're not stuck in your own head. You're actually paying attention. You respond in the moment. And that's how real conversations happen. Another big benefit: you stop translating in your head. A lot of learners try to think in their native language and then translate into English. But that takes time. And it usually doesn't work well. When you speak naturally, you're training your brain to think in English. That's how you become fluent. And here's the magic part. When you let go of the pressure to be perfect, you start to feel more confident. You stop worrying, you start enjoying speaking. And that is when your English truly begins to grow. It's not about sounding like a textbook. It's about being yourself in English. Relaxed, clear, authentic. And here's a simple truth. Most people just want to understand what you're saying. They're not grading your grammar. They're not waiting for you to mess up. They're listening for your message. The more naturally you speak, the easier it is to connect. And that is the real goal of learning a language. So today, I encourage you, let go of the need to be perfect. Practice speaking out loud without judging yourself. Talk to yourself about your day. Describe what you're doing. Try not to correct every little thing. Just speak. The more you do it, the more natural it will feel. And remember, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be real. We've all had those moments when we really want to say something in English, but something inside holds us back. Maybe it's hesitation, maybe it's fear, maybe it's just that tight feeling in your chest that makes you freeze. Today, we're going to unpack all of that. One of the biggest blockages I see is the fear of making mistakes. So many learners are so afraid of saying something wrong that they freeze up when it's their turn to speak. Thoughts like, what if I say it wrong? What if they laugh at me? And suddenly, speaking English feels impossible. But listen carefully. Mistakes are part of learning. Even native speakers make grammar mistakes. They forget words. They mispronounce things. But they keep going. If we let fear control us, we miss valuable practice. And that's when progress slows down. Another mental block? The fear of judgment. This one is powerful. Learners often worry, what will they think of my accent? Do I sound stupid? Am I good enough? That fear makes us overly self-conscious. And when we're in our heads, we can't focus on the conversation in front of us. But here's the truth. Most people are not judging you. They just want to understand you. They're not grading you. They're not criticizing your accent. They're listening to your message. And even if they correct you, that's not rejection. It's a gift. It's learning. Perfectionism is another barrier. Wanting to speak with perfect grammar, perfect pronunciation, perfect vocabulary, it's a common goal. And while it's great to aim high, trying to be perfect all the time, that will only slow you down. Language learning is a journey. It's about progress, not perfection. If you're always chasing perfection, you'll always feel like you're falling short. But if you let that go, you'll speak more freely, and your progress will actually speed up. And finally, let's talk about the pressure to sound native. Many learners think, I have to sound like a native speaker to be good at English. But the truth is, you don't need to sound native. You just need to sound clear, confident, and authentic. Outro music begins softly. That's what today's episode was all about. How to stop overthinking and start speaking with confidence. If this episode helped you, take a moment to follow the podcast, share it with a friend, or leave a quick review. And remember, the more you speak, the more confident you'll feel. So go out there and just speak. Your goal is communication, not imitation. Native speakers aren't expecting you to be flawless. They're expecting you to show up, express your thoughts, and engage in real conversation. That's what matters. So let's take a moment to reflect. These blockages, fear of mistakes, fear of judgment, perfectionism, and the pressure to sound native, they can all hold us back from speaking naturally. But once we recognize them, we can start to challenge them. We can begin shifting our mindset toward what truly matters, using English to express ourselves. not impress others. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to have an accent. It's okay if your grammar isn't perfect. What matters is that you're trying, you're learning, and you're growing. And once we start to let go of these mental blockages, it becomes easier to speak freely and confidently. So now that we've talked about the mindset side, let's explore how to actually train your brain to speak more spontaneously and naturally in English. The first step is simple, but powerful. Stop overthinking every word. The more you try to mentally edit what you say before you say it, the harder it becomes to speak smoothly. Instead, practice speaking without the pressure to be perfect. Let your thoughts come out, even if they're messy. That's how fluency grows. One great technique is free talking. Set a timer for 2 minutes and talk about anything. Your day, your plans, your thoughts. Just talk. Don't stop to fix your grammar. Don't try to sound impressive, just speak. This builds your ability to speak without overthinking. Another fantastic method is called shadowing. You listen to a native speaker, maybe in a podcast or YouTube video, and immediately repeat what they say. Try to match their tone, speed, and rhythm. It's not about memorizing, it's about training your brain to respond quickly and naturally in English. Chunking is another great strategy. Instead of thinking word by word, train yourself to think in phrases. For example, don't translate, I want to go to the store now. Word by word. Think of it as one single chunk. This helps your brain process English more smoothly and helps you sound more natural. You can also try mental rehearsal. If you know you'll be in a situation where you'll need to speak English, like a meeting or a trip, practice the conversation in your head. Think through what you might say and how you'll respond. This builds confidence and reduces anxiety. And of course, nothing replaces real-time conversation. The more you speak with others, whether in person, online, or with language partners, the easier it becomes to respond in the moment. The goal isn't to speak perfectly, it's to speak consistently. Let's talk about how you can bring these ideas into your daily life. You don't need a formal class to practice English. In fact, some of the best practice happens in simple, everyday activities. For example, narrate your actions. While you're cooking, you can say, I'm boiling water now. I need to cut the vegetables. It may feel silly at first, but it trains your brain to describe what's happening in real time. You can also describe what you see around you. If you're walking down the street, say, the sun is shining. A woman is walking her dog. The bus is arriving. This helps you practice vocabulary and sentence structure naturally. Another easy one, listen and repeat while doing chores. If you're washing dishes, play a podcast or a video in English. Pause and repeat what you hear. It's a simple way to combine listening and speaking practice while staying productive. Small talk is another great tool. Chatting with someone at the store or a coworker at the office might seem like nothing, but every little interaction helps build fluency. Even a simple, "How are you today?" is practice. And don't forget to think in English. Try planning your day in your head using English. I need to check my email. Then I'll go for a walk. Maybe I'll call my friend this evening. This helps you stop translating and start thinking directly in English. Lastly, try watching TV shows or movies in English, but with a twist. Pause and try to repeat the dialogue. Try mimicking the actor's expressions, tone, and rhythm. It's a fun way to practice real, conversational English, and it helps you sound more natural. So, to wrap up, remember, your brain can be trained to speak English more naturally, but it starts with letting go of fear, perfectionism, and pressure. Then, by using simple techniques like free talking, shadowing, chunking, and mental rehearsal, and by practicing English throughout your day, you'll start to notice real, meaningful progress. Don't wait for the perfect moment to speak. Use the imperfect moments, because that's where fluency lives. Now that we've talked about how to train your brain for spontaneous speaking and how to use everyday activities to practice, let's explore the big question. Why is speaking English without thinking so important? Let's break it down. One of the biggest benefits of speaking without overthinking is that it increases your fluency. When you're not constantly pausing to find the perfect word or to structure your sentence just right, you start speaking more smoothly and naturally. This leads to faster conversations, less hesitation, and ultimately, stronger communication. And along with fluency comes confidence. When you allow yourself to speak without worrying about mistakes, you begin to trust your abilities more. That confidence becomes a powerful motivator. It keeps you practicing, learning, and growing. And the best part? It feels good. Another huge benefit is the ability to react quickly in real-life conversations, whether that's during a job interview, while traveling, or even in casual chats with friends. When you train your brain to speak naturally, you respond more easily and more authentically. No more long pauses, no more mental translations. And here's something people often forget. Speaking naturally improves your listening skills too. When you stop overanalyzing your words, you become more present in the conversation. You listen more attentively, you catch the small details, and you start picking up on how native speakers really use the language, things like slang, tone, and emotion. Speaking naturally also helps you connect with others on a deeper level. When you're not caught up in your head, you sound more genuine. Your voice becomes more expressive, your gestures more natural. And guess what? People respond to that energy. Conversations become real, human, and meaningful. And let's not forget one of my favorite benefits: enjoyment. When you're not stressing about every little mistake, you can actually enjoy the conversation. It becomes less about correctness and more about connection. You laugh more, you relax more, and you learn more without the pressure. So let's quickly recap the benefits of speaking English without overthinking. More fluency, more confidence, faster reactions in real-life conversations, better listening and comprehension, stronger personal connections, and more enjoyment in your learning journey. Sounds amazing, right? But here's the key takeaway. Speaking naturally doesn't mean speaking perfectly. It means speaking consistently. The more you practice speaking without stopping to analyze every word, the easier it becomes. Fluency is built through action, not through waiting until you're ready. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't hold back because you're unsure. The real growth happens while you're speaking. That wraps up today's episode of English Without Limit. We've talked about how to train your brain for spontaneous speaking, how to use everyday activities to practice, and the powerful benefits of speaking English without overthinking. Before we finish, here are a few final thoughts. Be patient with yourself. Speaking English naturally is a skill that takes time and practice. Let go of perfection. Speak every day, even if it's just to yourself. Describe what you're doing. Repeat what you hear. Talk out loud while you walk, or cook, or clean. The more you make English a part of your daily routine, the faster you'll progress. And don't forget, listen as much as you speak. Podcasts, TV shows, YouTube channels. All of these expose you to the real rhythm and flow of the language, so absorb it, repeat it, live it. If you found today's episode helpful, I'd love it if you'd leave a review, give it a thumbs up, or share it with a friend who's learning English. And of course, subscribe to English Without Limit so you never miss an episode. Have questions? Topics you'd like me to cover? Just leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks so much for spending your time with me today. Keep practicing, stay confident, and remember, the more you speak without thinking, the more fluent and fearless you'll become. See you in the next episode.